What's up, dogs and nuggets? Welcome to the second video of the 2017 NFL season. We did our pick'em last month. We did fantasy, sleepers, and busts. We'll go over all that, and then we'll give some projections for the next 4 weeks in the NFL. And as always, I got Fitzpatrick here, FitzCanada, hanging out. How you doing, Fitz?
I'm doing great. Just moved into a new apartment, watching some hockey while I talk about football. It's a good night.
Nice. Who's playing?
My boys, Ottawa, taking on Detroit.
Okay. Detroit is not very good, are they? They've
No,
kind of lost all their players.
They are awful. They are my early season pick to be the worst team in the league. That's not named Las Vegas.
Haha. But Las Vegas won their first game, didn't they?
Indeed, they did. Yep, but they got heavily outshot, and that's not sustainable throughout 82 games.
No, I mean, a goalie's not going to get, 35, 40 saves a game.
No.
Not easy to do.
No, but back to football.
Yeah, back to football. All right, so we're going to go over 3 surprise teams so far this year. And I think the first one we got to touch on in the AFC East is the Buffalo Bills, sitting at 3-1. They just went into Atlanta, shut down Matt Ryan, shut down that offense, and came away with a solid win. They have the best defense in the league right now as far as points against was 54. Tyrod Taylor has kind of been a game manager, and Shady McCoy, it's just been run hard, control the clock, and let the defense win the game. What do you think of these Bills?
Well, for me, I need to wait one more week. They're just about to play the Bengals. I think the Bengals are on a big upswing. They just changed their offensive coordinator after the first 2 losses. I think that the Bengals are going to win that game. But if Buffalo wins that game, then yeah, I'm a believer in them. For me, Tyrod Taylor, I don't know why they're so reluctant to pay the man and give him a few years at the helm. I think he's done his job great. To me, he's Alex Smith. And I think we see what Kansas City's doing. I think you keep Tyrod, you build around, get him the pieces that he needs to succeed, and I think they can do it.
Okay. I mean, I think so too. I mean, I think they've been holding off.
He's Alex Smith, right?
I mean, I think he's sort of like Alex Smith. I don't think he's as good as Alex Smith, but he's definitely a little bit more mobile, a little bit quicker, I guess I should say, than Alex. But, I mean, if he wins, say, 4 out of the next 6 games and they're 7-3, I feel like he can get a mid-season contract extension because, I mean, New England just doesn't look like itself. They barely beat Tampa on Thursday night. They barely beat, who the heck was it, Houston, on just like a last-second throw to Cooks in the end zone. So, I mean, the Bills, they could be 1-4. I mean, and, the Bills, if they smell blood, I mean, I think they could challenge for this division. Yeah,
I think so too. With the Patriots having arguably the league worst defense.
Yeah, which is surprising.
At this point, I'd almost favor the Bills.
Wow, okay. I think I'd favor them for sure in Orchard. I don't know if I'd favor them in Foxborough, obviously. But, they're 1-2 in Foxborough, the Patriots are, so
yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, we'll stay in the AFC East for the surprise team. Now, I picked them to go 2-14 this year, and the New York Jets have already got 2 wins. They're facing the Browns this week, and the Browns are god-awful. They could be 3-2 and above 500, and their plan to suck to get Rosen or Darnold is not working out very well. What do you think about these Jets?
I'm impressed with the Jets, and I saw a Reddit thread this week pointing out the players that they got rid of that people thought they were tanking because they got rid of them. Almost all of them have done nothing where they've ended up. So perhaps addition by subtraction with this Jets team. And, young guys, unheralded guys stepping up. Not the first time that's happened in the NFL. This is a league of everybody here is talented. Some of them just need the chance to play. So the Jets are showing that they can play. We'll see what they can do going forward. But, yeah, they're way better than everybody thought they'd be.
Yeah, I mean, they put up about 350 yards rushing on the ground against Jacksonville last week. It was just, every time I looked over at the Gamecast, it's another 20, 30-yard run that someone's going off. Bilal Powell had that 75-yard touchdown run. I mean, it's, you know, if they get the run game and they take the ball out of Josh McCown's hands, you know, I could see them being competitive. And Bulls is, you know, got this team fighting, you know, and when they got a fighting chance, they're going to be competitive in some games this year. A lot more than I thought they'd be.
You know, for what it's worth, Josh McCown is arguably the best quarterback Cleveland's had in the past 10 years. He's been the guy that's gone to terrible teams and made them better, if slightly. So, I mean, I think people are probably sleeping on McCown a bit. He's not a 2-win quarterback on a season.
Yeah.
He's better than that.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they'll probably come back down to earth here a little bit. But if they win 6 games, which kind of sucks for their draft because it'll be, you know, a top 10 instead of a top 5, but that's going to be a a big win for the Jets. I remember listening to the radio, and they said in Vegas the over-under was 4.5 wins. And a lot of people were taking the under, and man, they might lose some money, those guys now, because it looks like they might get above 4.5. But
I think they will. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to another surprise team. Over to LA with the LA Rams. Sitting 3-1 right now, 142 points scored. Just a very fun team to watch. That Thursday night game a couple weeks ago was incredible against San Francisco, where they barely pulled it out, 41-39. But they just, I was watching the game against Dallas last week, and Goff looks good. I mean, the throws are easy. I mean, Dallas' defense didn't look that great. There's a lot of open receivers, so he didn't have to thread too many needles. And Gurley is just stepping up his game this year, and you can tell how much Jeff Fisher hindered him in that offense last year. I mean, he is the top yards for scrimmage guy so far this year. He's got 6 or 7 touchdowns through 4 weeks, and putting up 220 all-purpose yards on Dallas and winning that game in Dallas was very, very fun to watch. So I'm liking where the Rams are going. I think they can have a really good chance to beat Seattle this week.
Yeah, with Seattle looking at the way they are, it's kind of like a Buffalo situation. The Rams could take this division and maybe should be favored to do so at this point in the season, at least until we see them with a bad loss against a mediocre team. But right now they're playing really good. That offense looks great. They've got Aaron Donald on defense. There's a lot to like with this team, and the new coach, Sean McVay, very impressive so far. So I like them to win this division. I do.
Yeah, and I think they'll be tough. They'll be a tough out. That defense is solid, and I mean, Goff is only in his second year. He's pretty much in his rookie campaign. He didn't play that much last year.
Yep.
But with Gurley, you know, taking the brunt of that, Sammy Watkins, Cooper Kupp. I mean, they got a good offense. I mean, it's just a fun team to watch, honestly. So yeah, we got to watch out for them.
Yeah, I think Cooper Kupp is a guy to watch going forward, especially in like a fantasy league. If you're in like a keep 'em league, I think his value is only going to go up in future years.
Yep. Oh, Wisconsin just got a 75-yard touchdown run. Booyah. Not watching the game on my computer, the Gamecast. All right, so let's go over some surprise bad teams. Now, we got to start in the NFC East, and it is the New York Football Giants. Now, I had them going 9-7, and I didn't really like my picks on that. I didn't think they were that good. I was kind of thinking that it'd be the defense run team. Eli wouldn't do too much. You know, like last year, they only scored 19 points a game on average, and they won 11-5. I figured if they scored 22, 23 points a game, they could win 9 games. But, God, that offensive line is so bad. No running game. And that defense is pretty much getting shredded. It looks like a shell of what it was last year. And they keep losing at the buzzer. I mean, they're right in the games, but you know, when you're 0-4, I mean, your season's pretty much over already. You know, I mean, I don't think they're going to win, you know, 7 games. They won't win 7. They'll probably win 6 if they go 6-6 down the stretch. So, very surprising with the Giants.
Yeah, well, I'm not as surprised. I thought they would fall flat this year. I think there was way too much hype around them. Not a big fan of the Brandon Marshall pickup. the offensive line issues, and now we all see McAdoo, everybody calling for his head, and if they go for the 0-5, there'll definitely be changes. He is on the hot seat right now, and actually, let's see who's their next opponent. Detroit. No, that's not right. It's the Chargers.
Yeah, it's the Chargers.
The Chargers, okay. Yeah, that's one that you gotta win because that's another winless team, right? So
yeah, one of them's gonna have a win after this week.
One of them's gonna have a win.
Unless they tie.
Unless they tie.
Oh my God, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not as surprised with the Giants, but yeah, just like you, I don't see them finishing better than 6 wins. They're just not that good a team this year. It's gonna take another year for them to figure out what's wrong and acquire some more talent on that offensive line.
Yeah, they're gonna have to draft a running back.
Oh God,
yeah,
the running backs! Holy crap, they have nothing.
I mean, I don't know if Saquon Barkley's coming out of Penn State this year, but if they were able to pick him up somehow, I mean, that team would be a force to be reckoned with because he's a really good running back.
I gotta say that I used to be of the opinion that running back would, if I was doing a draft of a team, running back would be maybe the last position that I pick, because I feel like with a really good offensive line, good offensive scheme, most NFL level athletic running backs can get the job done. But these past 2 years, with the rookies that we're seeing, the guys like the Kareem Hunt, the Dalvin Cooks, how much they're changing these teams. Todd Gurley in LA, how good they're looking. I've changed my opinion. I think taking a first-round running back could be franchise-changing. The only thing is that you only get maybe 5 top-level years out of them, right? So. Yeah,
usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they're gonna need something because they look very bad.
Yep.
All right, let's go to the other LA team, the Chargers, the aforementioned. They are playing those Giants this week. And I didn't see this team being 0-4. I picked them 10-6 this year, which is, wow, way off.
Yeah.
Way off. I mean, those first 2 games, they lost because their field goal kicker couldn't make anything. The last 2 games, you know, they got pretty much crushed in KC, although the game, I guess, was closer than the 24-10 final score. And, you know, losing last week, they just weren't competitive. You know, Rivers swearing on the sideline and blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, it's an orphan team. They don't have a home. You know, they're in LA. They're a San Diego team. You know, they don't know where they're going to be. I think there's just a lot of depression around this team. You know, they don't have an identity. And outside of Rivers, you know, it's just there's really no one there. I mean, I thought Bosa would be a little bit better, the other lineman. You know, and they've been competitive, but they're just not that good of a team.
Yeah, and people were picking Bosa for Defensive Player of the Year. Don't think that's going to happen this year. Got to be better than 0-4 for that. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird situation with the team. They've got a lot of talent, like you said. Maybe some of it's being underutilized. I don't know. Keenan Allen looks good coming back from injury. Good for him. But I don't know. For being 0-4, they're only minus 21 in net points. Right? So an average loss of about 5 points. These are one-score games for the most part. So they'll pick up the wins. They will, but it's too late for them to make the playoffs. I could see them reaching 6 or 7 wins. 6 probably, but you know.
Yeah, I don't see them making 7. That'd be 7-5 down the stretch. But let's see who they play. I mean, they got a tough division. They haven't played really anybody in the division yet. Well, no, they played 2. They played 2 already. They played the Broncos and the Chiefs. They got Giants, Raiders, Broncos, Patriots next 4 games. Ouch.
Okay, maybe it'll be a while till they get their way.
Yeah, and then Jaguars, they can win that one. Bills, Cowboys, tough. Browns, Redskins, Chiefs, Jets, Raiders. Yeah, this could be a 5-win team.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Yeah, that's just not good. So, poor LA, poor Chargers.
Yeah, poor Chargers. Let's not call them LA because who knows how long they'll be there.
Right, exactly. And then let's go to the third team, which is very surprising, and that is back to the AFC East. A lot of surprise in the AFC East. And that's the Miami Dolphins. I mean, they have scored 25 points on offense through 3 games.
Oh my God.
The Jets pretty much shut them out. They scored a touchdown like the last 2 plays of the game, like 5 seconds left. And then they got shut out in London by the Saints. And the Saints are not known for their defense per se. And I mean, I thought this team would be good. They had Ajayi, who, I mean, had a good first year last year. You know, he had over 1,000 yards. Devontae Parker, Jarvis Landry, Julius Thomas, and Cutler. You'd think he'd be able to game manage and just, you know, throw 250 yards, a touchdown, have Ajayi get a touchdown, you know, kick some field goals, and, you know, let Ndamukong Suh in that defense, you know, kind of take over games. And they just look god-awful. I mean, they've only allowed 57 points, but that's through 3 games, so I guess it's about 19 a game. But when you only put up 25 points, I've never seen an offense this anemic in my life. I don't even know how they beat the Chargers. Well, I do know how, because the Chargers kicker can't make a field goal, but they're just a bad team.
Yeah, they're a bad team. They're a really bad team. And Jay Cutler came in. He's supposed to be that Josh McCown type veteran quarterback who will slightly improve your team in the absence of your starter, right? Well, yeah. He's not doing that. He's holding them back. I mean, that offense, 25 points through
3 weeks.
That's just not even close to good enough.
No.
Like,
yeah, you're not going to hold your opponent to 8 points a game.
No, they're not going anywhere this season. And like you said, yeah, they're 1-2, but they are way worse than a 1-2 record indicates.
Yeah, unless they start scoring some points. I mean, they finally got a home game, I believe, this week, which they haven't had because they played one in London. Let's see who they are playing. 2017 summary. Yeah, they're home against Tennessee. I mean, that's going to be tough because Mariota's still going to play.
Tennessee wins.
Yeah, let's take a look at their schedule coming up. So they got Titans. Wow, okay. Titans, Falcons, Jets, Ravens. All right, they can win Jets, Ravens. Then Raiders, Panthers, Bucks, Patriots, Broncos, Patriots, Bills, Chiefs, Bills.
Now, personally,
wow.
Right now, if they played this weekend, I'd favor the Jets over the Dolphins. That's how bad they are. I'd favor the Jets over them. And I think a lot of people...
Yeah, well, the Jets beat them 20-6 already.
Yeah, a lot of people would favor the Jets over them. And when that's the case, you're a really bad team.
I mean, their last 8-9 games are just unbelievable. I mean, Raiders, Panthers, at Panthers, Bucks at home, at Patriots, Broncos home, Patriots home, at Bills, at Chiefs, and then close out the Bills at home. I mean,
they could end up with the #1 draft pick.
Yeah, they could win. Yeah, they might only win 3 games.
I mean, Cleveland's tough competition, but they just might do it.
Wow, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right, so those are the 3 surprises and 3 bad surprises. Now we're going to go over our busts and our sleepers that we had from the first video. Let me bring up my picks here. Okay, so sleepers, I had Carlos Hyde, Jay Cutler, Jamison Crowder, Julius Thomas, and Keenan Allen. Hyde and Allen have definitely had good years. Hyde has been really good for me in the 3 fantasy leagues I picked him up in. Julius Thomas has been on my bench in every fantasy league. I'm still waiting for that offense to turn around, which it doesn't look like they will with that schedule coming. Jamison Crowder, see, I thought he was going to be the number 1 on that team. It looks more like what the hell is that guy? I mean, even Ryan Grant is better than Jamison Crowder right now. I can't think of the other one.
We got Josh Doctson, Terrell Pryor. Do they have?
No, I don't think Pryor. Oh yeah, Pryor is on him. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So Pryor is better than him, and then Ryan Grant. So he's like the 3rd receiver on that team, which I thought he was going to be number 1.
Yeah.
And then Keenan Allen has had a good year. He's had the last 2 years of injury, missed them pretty much the entire season. So that's why I felt like I could pick him as a sleeper, especially coming off an Achilles. And then the bus, I have Cousins, Lacey, Gronk, David Johnson, and Julio with a toe injury. Definitely Cousins is wrong. He's been playing really well. I mean, he's been slicing up defenses. I watched that Oakland game, and he just carved them up. He looked really good against KC, even though they let that game get away, but it wasn't all his fault with Doxson dropping that touchdown in the end zone. Lacey's been a complete bust. Gronk has not been a bust. He's been good. He sat out Thursday night's game, but he's been playing well. I mean, he's averaging 70 yards. He's got a couple touchdowns. David Johnson, my big bust, usually the number 1 or the number 2 pick in all your fantasy leagues, and he went out right away in that first game, missing 10 weeks, broken hand. So that is a clear-cut bust. And Julio is a bust too. I mean, he was taken in the top 5 overall, especially in PPR leagues, and he's got a couple hundred yards, but he has no touchdowns, and he had over 100 yards against the Packers. So he's only had about 150 yards the other 3 games. So I think 3 out of 5 for the busts, and then 2 out of 5 for the sleepers. So it's doing okay. How are your busts and sleepers doing?
Well, not great, honestly. I don't know how you called David Johnson, and Julio was a great pick too. Yeah, for my bust, I had Frank Gore. I wouldn't even necessarily call him a bust this year. He's been okay. He hasn't been great though. So yeah. I don't think anybody was picking him to be one of their best running backs anyways. So
yep.
Who else did I take? Kenny Britt as a sleeper. The offense as a whole is just worse than I thought they'd be. Kaiser, I don't think has any chance of being the answer at quarterback, and I thought Kenny Britt might be kind of his safety blanket that he might just chuck some balls to, but he's throwing too many picks, and Kenny Britt's just not getting the targets that he needs. Yeah. So it hasn't worked out so far. If I had him on my team, I wouldn't drop him. I'd hold on to him for a bit longer on my bench, see what happens. Rookie, maybe give him some games, the quarterback there. So Kenny Britt's a wait and see. Andy Dalton, I thought would have a great year, and I'm not giving up on him yet. He had 2 horrible first weeks, but he's improved every week. He had a great game against the Browns. I know it was the Browns, but he's got the Bills coming up. This is the litmus test, okay? If he puts up a good game against the Bills, I'm all in on Dalton still. If he has a terrible game, I'll concede. I'll say, okay, he's not having the best year.
Yeah, but definitely against that.
But this is it. Defense. This is the test. They got the change at offensive coordinator. This is the test. They've been good since. They almost beat Green Bay, and he was very good that game.
Yeah, so, that was a nail biter for sure.
Yeah, we'll see. And I also, John Ross, I thought would have a great year. The rookie receiver for the Bengals. He only has points in 1 game, and it's negative points. So I'm going to say that I was completely wrong on that. He's been fighting injury, so that's part of it, but shouldn't have picked him if he was fighting injury. So yeah, that was a bad pick. So yeah, as a whole, has not been good on my busts and sleepers, but don't give up on Dalton yet. I'm telling you.
Yeah. All right, we won't. It's only 4 games in. Okay, so we're gonna pick 2 teams to break down from our playoff picks, and Fitz is gonna cover the Bengals, and I'm gonna do the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I had Philadelphia winning the division. I just really liked the progression of Carson Wentz last year. I mean, they started off 3-1 last year, and they kind of slid towards the end. I think they were 7-9 overall. But I just liked where the team was going. I mean, the defense is good, and Wentz in that first game, he avoided like a sack 3 times, threw like off balance 50 yards for a touchdown to Aguilar, and it's like, okay, this guy is definitely stepping up his game, and you can tell from last year to this year, he's more comfortable, he's more decisive, he's got a little bit more zip on the ball. And he's just making great plays. And the Eagles, I think for sure are going to win this division. I mean, Dallas hasn't really shown me anything. Washington showed me a little bit, but they've lost close games. I think Philly is just better than Washington and Dallas right now. So I'm looking pretty good for the Eagles making the playoffs and winning the NFC East. Now, your Bengals, You had them making the playoffs. What's going on with them?
So let's just get out of the way. The Ken Zampese, their offensive coordinator, they entered the season with. He was terrible last year. He was terrible at the start of the year. He's now gone. All right.
Mm-hmm.
However, the issues extend beyond that. The offensive line, we all knew was going to be worse than last year, and they were a bad team last year. So I guess I underestimated how big of an issue it would be, because they lost their best guard in Kevin Zeitler, and they lost their long time, one of the best tackles in the league, in Andrew Whitworth. Those losses are hurting a lot. So
yes,
it's really hard for me. I would not bet money on them making the playoffs still, but I do think they have a chance, especially if they beat Buffalo this week. I think the perception of them goes up in a lot of people's minds. The offense still has so many weapons that with if this new coordinator really works out, and the big change is letting Dalton make his reads at the line, making the audibles. Zampese didn't let him do that. Let Dalton take the reins. He's not just a game manager. He's not Joe Flacco. He's not Alex Smith. Dalton makes good changes at the line. Let him try to beat teams through the air. Let him take some shots. And I think if they do that, I think they could still have a fruitful season. But the defense has also been mediocre at best. Some injuries there. Was to get Burfict going, maybe they'll improve. Honestly, right now I see them as a 8-win, maybe 7-win team. So has not worked out for them yet. But only 4 games in, they've got a chance to reverse this.
Yeah, they do. They definitely do. I mean, 1-3 is definitely better than 0-4, and I mean, you can come back from 1-3 and still, compete for the playoffs. Can come
back, and it is worth noting that they played a very tough game against Green Bay.
Yeah, they did. They should have won that.
That says a lot. They should have won that for sure.
Yeah, their schedule coming up isn't too bad. They got Bills, Steelers next 2 weeks, but then they got Colts, Jaguars, Titans, Broncos, Browns, Steelers, Bears, Vikings, Lions, Ravens. I can see them winning 8 or 9 games, honestly. They don't have that tough a schedule. So, they might turn around, and Dalton might turn around and turn into a true sleeper like you had him.
Yep, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens in the next month here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll definitely know more about the playoff picture. We'll see if these 3-1 teams and the bust. We'll see if they keep going on their slides or if they keep winning games like the Bills and the Jets. It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to doing the next video next month and seeing what has happened in the National Football League.
Yeah, another month of football. I can't wait. It's always unpredictable. If you do a weekly pick 'em, especially against the spread, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Who picked the Bears beating the Steelers, right? I know I didn't.
I picked them to cover the spread. I didn't pick them to beat them, though.
Well, there you go.
Because, yeah, that field, teams are very slow on Soldier Field, and there's not a lot of points ever scored. So yeah, that's, and then
kind of funny because Heinz Field is crap as well.
Well, and that Big Ben and Tomlin always have the letdown game on the road every year.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Every single year they play down and under their bad competition that they're playing, and it just people called it. People called it on the sports talk radio I listened to, and it's like this could be one of those games that Tomlin and Roethlisberger have a down game. I mean, Roethlisberger's been just a crap quarterback this year. I mean, let's pull up his stats. Well,
he's not been good at all.
No, especially with the killer bees.
Especially with the eye test, like fantasy numbers don't always tell the story. If he gets a 5-yard dump pass off to Brown and Brown goes 70 yards, like how much credit can you give Roethlisberger for that?
Yeah, he's completing 62% of his passes for 957 yards, 6.8 yards per attempt, which is not very good.
No, that's not good at all.
6 TDs, 2 interceptions, and a rating of 90.7. So.
Not terrible, not great.
But it's not good when you got Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant and Le'Veon Bell and blah, 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 out of the back. It's surprising. It's just, I mean,
and
Eli Manning has the exact same rating as him and 2 more 100 yards. and the same amount of touchdowns.
On that note, you know, I think you need 10 wins to make the wild card in the AFC, at least maybe even 11 because of how good teams like Denver is looking. But if the Steelers stumble a bit, maybe the Bengals only need 9 wins to make the playoffs, and that's much more attainable for them.
That's true. That's true. Well, it all depends on what Denver and Oakland do out there as well.
Yeah.
So, all right, Fitz. Well, it's been a good video, and good luck in your fantasy. Good luck for the Bengals. Good luck for my Packers, and we'll see where we sit next month.
We'll see where we sit.
Yeah. Take care.